Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooklyn. If you are new here, I have recently graduated from WGU. Well, actually, it was a year ago almost. Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, I am a graduate from WGU, which is Western Governors University. I spent about 3 to 4 months teaching in a 3rd grade classroom with that degree. And now I am back at a private Bible college finishing out my religious education degree before I decide to go back into a classroom. But I still want to make content. So that's what we're going to talk about today is WGU and how it prepared me for the classroom. So before we get into it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my video to stay up to date on all the content that will be coming soon. So let's get into it. Okay, so I had to change locations because people kept walking by that classroom that I was in and it made me nervous that someone was going to hear me. So I came back to my room and the lighting is horrible. So I have my contrast or like brightness literally turned all the way up, and I have y'all sitting on my laptop so that my laptop screen like brings some light in. So if it gets kind of crazy, I apologize. I just wanted to get this out of the way because I've been meaning to film this for literally a month. So sorry about that. Let's get into it now. One of the most asked questions I get whenever I mention that I went to WGU and that I did my degree in 5 months and that I started teaching was, did WGU prepare you for the position that you were placed in? So this is yes, but also no. So here's the thing. WGU has a program called a Bachelor of Arts in Educational Studies with a focus in elementary education. This is not the same thing as their Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education. The one I did, the BAES, means I did not do student teaching. WGU did not certify me to teach. I just took the classes. I didn't actually go in and student teach an actual classroom. So because of that, I did my teaching in 3rd grade when I was actually a teacher on a working teaching permit. Now, different states have different standards on whether they allow these or not. Tennessee does, so that's why I was able to do it. But because of that, I went into teaching on a slight disadvantage, and it was completely my fault. I didn't get to observe real classrooms. Before I taught, I went in one day to the school I got hired at to see the teacher and what her curriculum was and everything the day before I started teaching the class as their full-time teacher. Which, I mean, I'm so grateful that I thought to ask if I could go in a day early to observe her, because if not, I would have been completely out of my zone. So even though I went in at a slight disadvantage, the papers and lesson plans that I had to do at WGU were very helpful to me personally. However, that's not the kind of lesson planning that you actually use as a full-time teacher. You don't have time as a full-time teacher to write out 3 pages of lesson plans for one subject out of the 4 that you're going to teach in that one day. It doesn't happen. Usually it's, you have let me find my planner real quick. So this is a student binder. This is a teacher binder, but I'm using it for like my classes here at college just because I wanted to. But say if I was a teacher, it says subject, time, and then the days. So I would put math, science, reading, social studies, whatever, and I'd have in these little blocks, I'd put my planning. That's at least what we did in my school usually. This is what my co-teachers taught me to do. And if math, we were doing something with place value, I would say place value worksheet, or place value, or math book page da-da-da, or tutorial da-da-da, and like write out the link to it. You don't actually do like the 3-page lesson plans. So I feel like in that aspect, I was definitely over-prepared, which is amazing because, you know, it's easier to cut things out of your lessons plans rather than try to create it, like, you know, add things into how you do lesson plans. So that was easy. But usually those 2 to 3 page lesson plans that you do in college, you're not going to do those when you're actually teaching unless you're being observed. When you're being observed, you have to have a full-blown written lesson plan typed out with all that same information that you had to give in college with the objectives, standards, your procedure for how you're going to go through the lesson, what you're going to be in, what materials are going to be used in the lesson that you're using and which ones that the students are using, how you will take that data from that lesson to apply it to the next lesson and all that fun jazz. You'll do that whenever you're getting observed, but when you're actually like teaching day to day, you're not going to do any of that. So back on track with, did WGU prepare me? So thankfully WGU didn't have to prepare me a lot, because I already had some basic knowledge of how to hold a classroom, because I taught Sunday school since I was 10, and I was 21 when I started teaching, so 11 years of experience. But sorry, I'm looking at my laptop that's like behind y'all, because it also has like my notes on it. Oh, so usually I don't know about how it is in your state, but with Tennessee I taught math and science, and for both of those we used iReady, I believe, or I know for math we used iReady. And it literally online had like a teacher toolbox, and it showed you where you were supposed to be, what lessons you were supposed to be working on, what tutorials you were supposed to show them, what worksheet pages they should do, all that kind of stuff. So it honestly, the curriculum kind of tells you what to do, and you just do that. You can add in your own, like sometimes me or my co-teacher wouldn't like the math worksheets that they offered, so we go on Teachers Pay Teachers and look up one. By the way, I do have a Teachers Pay Teachers store. I'll link it up here somewhere, or in the description, but I do have one. It doesn't have a lot on it. It's just like, I think the only like actual like worksheet it has on there that I created was one for time, because I couldn't find one I wanted, so I created one and decided I would just put it up there. But a lot of times I just did what the curriculum told me, and that was my lesson plan for the day. So WGU really didn't have to prepare me for all that, although like it did help me like how to like read a standard, how to make an objective from a standard, and that kind of thing, which was really helpful. But the one thing that WGU really couldn't teach me was how to handle a classroom in every situation. And I don't know if this is because I didn't do student teaching, or if it's only partly because I didn't do student teaching, but one of the big things was I did not know how to interact with the school counselor and the administration. I had a situation in my classroom. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it a lot, just because I don't want to, you know, privacy and like violations of privacy and all that. But let's just say I had a student who was struggling mentally, and I realized it and didn't know what steps I needed to take, and at what point I had to go talk to the counselor about it, what point I needed to send them to go to the counselor, and all that kind of stuff. So I wish there had been like, I know that we have like behavioral psychology in college, but I wish it had been more, not just the signs of it, but how to work through it with your colleagues, if that makes sense. As well as I never really learned how to address behavior that much at a administration level, let's just say that. Which I know that can vary from school to school, but it was really awkward. I would go to my teacher next door and I'd be like, hey, is this something I sent them to the principal for? And she'd be like, no. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess it happened today, da da da. She was like, you sent them to the principal, right? And I was like, I didn't know that was a principal offense. Okay. Sorry, my nose is running. But just like little things like that, which I mean, a lot of that, like I said, I don't think I would have known that even if I did student teaching. I think that's just something that you learn and is situational by the school, but that's something that WGU was not able to prepare me for, sadly. Another thing is classroom management. I know we took courses in classroom management with my WGU degree. It is so much different actually applying it to a classroom, just saying. Every single class that I took at WGU, I feel like had something to do with classroom management and behavioral management, but actually having to apply it, because like, it's cool whenever, you know, you have, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound mean. So I had third graders. I want to teach lower elementary, so like second or first grade, maybe kindergarten, but probably not. But third graders, they were a little sassy, and they were not, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound mean, but if you're a teacher, you know what I mean. They're not as easily intimidated. And I could say to do something, or else this is gonna happen, and they'd be like, no. I'd be like, okay, you're gonna go to the principal's office, and they'd be like, no. So like, you're not really like, you can tell me all day to send them to the principal's office, but if I'm literally having to drag them to the principal's office, or you could tell me all day, like, yeah, don't allow bullying, but until you're faced with a situation, which is what when I faced, where a group of girls are sitting at your kidney table during indoor recess and writing out lists of the kids they hate, and why they hate them, and like the list of the people that are ugly in your classroom, like no form of textbook information is going to prepare you for that situation. Just saying. So no, WGU did not prepare me in that aspect because I don't think they could. I don't think any college could, for that matter, and because I think that's just like, you know, real life experience and like what you had to learn for yourself. However, all in all, I do think WGU prepared me enough. I mean, it's just like any other career. I have a degree in business as well, and I started doing my mom's books for her flower shop after I got that degree, and there were a lot of things about doing books that I did not learn from my business administration degree. There were things like real life aspects that I had to like take into account that I didn't know about and that no class could have taught me about. So I think for what it's worth, yes, WGU is just as legit as any other college. It will prepare you just as much as any other college. It did not prepare me fully for teaching, but I don't think anyone could be fully prepared for teaching, especially in my situation where I did not do student teaching. So the answer, I can't give you a clear one, is both yes and no. But I know a big part of it's probably because I didn't do student teaching. I'm trying to reiterate that because I loved my experience at WGU. I wish I had done student teaching, but also I could not financially do student teaching and not work for 4 or 5 months to do student teaching. That just, I could not do that. So all in all, yes, WGU did prepare me for my career. WGU is legit. You should choose. I'm not telling you what to choose. You choose whatever college that you think. But if you are like, if your only reason for not going to WGU is because you don't think it's legit, or you don't think you're going to be prepared for your class, for your like an actual classroom situation, those aren't good enough reasons. Especially when I don't think any other college could do better, especially at the price. So yes, WGU is legit. WGU did prepare me for my career. Thank you guys for watching. That's all. I know it was kind of all over the place, but it's really just like my feelings that I wanted to share with you about the whole situation and about WGU, my experience. So if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all the content that will be coming soon. Thank y'all and have a blessed day.